How do you take your busy 9 to 5 life and turn it into a successful note investment business? Stay tuned. Welcome to this week's edition of NoteSchool TV. Well, where we each week, when at 11:05 Central Time, we have the most amazing guests and the most amazing content. Today, obviously, is no different. Before I bring on Eddie and we bring on our guests, just a couple of favors to ask you here. Number one, make sure and like. Yep, hit that like button. Let us know that you're liking and loving what you see each week. Second, if you have not already subscribed to our NoteSchool TV channel, make sure and do that. And third, make sure and hit that bell notification. Boom, hit that bell so that you will be notified each week when we go live at 11:05 Central Time. Also, please keep your comments coming, folks. We love to hear from you. We love to hear your comments. Eddie and I read each of those, and we really like that you do that. And then if you would like to hear more about what we do at NoteSchool, simply go to noteschool.com/TV. Again, noteschool.com/TV. And we would love to have a conversation with you. More about that at the end of the show. And then, we are going to jump into the news. And with that, I want to bring on, our Chief Visionary Officer, founder of NoteSchool, my friend, Mr. Eddie Speed.
Good morning, Joe.
Good morning. Good morning. A little cold, little warmer in Dallas today than it was yesterday.
Yeah, we're warming up a little bit, but I got my heavy gear on here, and I know that a lot of people watching today are probably colder than we are. I was watching that a little bit of that football game the other night with Miami Dolphins and Kansas City Chiefs, and it's 4 below. And, that's just up high 35, just a way or two from us. But so I'm sure that nobody up north feels sorry for us, or north of us feels very sorry for us. But a little winter this week, but warm inside, Joe.
Absolutely. All warm and fuzzy, man.
Yeah.
So, Eddie, let's, before we bring on our guests, let's talk about the news here just for a minute. And this is hot off the press here, obviously. And the headline, right, is 2024 housing market poised for the largest influx of multifamily housing supply since the Nixon era. That's been a little while, Eddie.
Yeah, Joe, we've been talking about this.
Yeah.
So the St. Louis Fed had a statistic in the fall, and they said there were 1 million units, more than 5 family and up, right?
Right.
They said there were more than 1 million units under construction. Some of those have been taken down since then.
Yep.
We are seeing a big supply. If you're here in Dallas-Fort Worth, or you're in Houston, or if you're in any market out there, Orlando, you name it.
Yes.
It doesn't take much driving around to go see a lot of apartment units that are under construction. And, we're watching this. I know that the mortgage, the commercial origination world is watching it, and absorption rate. So let me give you a little prediction, Joe. Can I do that?
You can please do that. Yes.
Okay. Every time we've seen this in my 44-year career, right? And that was after Nixon, by the way.
Yes.
Right. I was in high school, or in, I don't know, junior high or something when Nixon was kicked out. Yep. So whatever that was, I don't even remember what year it was, but I remember it happening. You know what I'm saying? What we've seen every time is when there's this big influx of construction, those new units get occupied, right? They may drop the rents. They may have free rent, which all of them have free rent on the side of the buildings right now.
Yep.
Right. They may drop the rents. They may have free rent. They may do whatever. Those buildings are going to get occupied, Joe. Yeah. But what happens is there is a bleed off, and the bleed off becomes existing properties. The older properties start becoming more vacant.
Absolutely.
And that may not happen in this case, but I'm almost willing to bet you my best pair of Texas Cowboy boots that happened. It doesn't mean the new units are going to model like they predicted when they originally did all the math and came out of the ground and built them, right? They're probably not going to model anywhere close to the same, but it is the older properties that get bled out in this scenario. Now that may not happen, as I said, but if history repeats itself, that is what you can watch for.
Well, that's it. And, as the article says here, you got 439,000 units in 2023, another 672,000 this year. And that's well over 1,000,001. And what the economist there for RealPage says, higher expenses and elevated debts. It's going to be an interesting year in 2024. And here that is in a graph, Eddie.
Wow.
There we are.
Wow.
So here was 1974 over 72, 73, 74. And look at that number there. So there you go.
Why does that matter to us? Why do we care? Like, I want to just discuss this super fast.
Yes, please.
We care for two things. At the moment, about 70% of the normal new multifamily deals are being done. The rate of new deals being done, either new construction or existing deals getting bought, loan production is on commercial loans in that asset class is off about 70%.
Yes.
That means that people would have been investing in a syndication now are not investing in a syndication because it's not going to happen. And so now they're looking for how do I deploy my money? What do I do with my money if this doesn't work? And the answer is this money is now pouring into our industry because people are looking for the alternative to the traditional alternative of multifamily.
That's right.
Right. Multifamily is an alternative to traditional investments. Notes are a further alternative to multifamily. So that's what we're seeing. And yes, we are going to be a player in that distressed space. We just don't believe the knife has dropped enough yet. That's according to John Burns, about a 17% drop in values year over year in multifamily. So yes, it's dropped in value. I just don't think the knife's through dropping. That's just call it Joe, this Cowboy's opinion, right?
Well, you know what? You are our chief visionary officer for a reason, Eddie.
I've missed them before, but I think we got a fair amount of data on this one. So wherever you land in this is great. We're just showing you what we know, and maybe it's helpful to you.
Absolutely. So, Eddie, I think it's time for you to bring on our guest today. So I'm going to drop off, and I'm going to let you introduce John, and I'll see you guys in a few minutes.
All right. Thank you, Joe. So our guest today, I think you're going to find is very interesting. Joe's opener said basically a busy 9-to-5er, and we'll get into more details of what that 9-to-5 job has been for him. But this is a family man. He's worked a lot in having his own business, and we got a great story about that journey and how that has now led him to something I think he's pretty amped up about. And I think you'll see that, which is him investing in notes and what he sees his future in doing that. You guys welcome John DiLucci. Good morning.
Hi, Eddie.
How you doing?
Pretty good. Yourself?
I'm great. Well, we want to congratulate you into our NoteSchool family. You have been a newer member, but a treasured member already, and we've gotten to spend time with you and get to know you well. And that really is a great thing. And we thought it would be great for you to come in and share a little bit of that story and teach all of us a little bit about what your journey has been and why that's mattered. So give us a little history before you got to NoteSchool.
Well, I'm a partner in a CPA firm that I started back in 2005. And, initially it was just me and my wife and a couple employees on the second story of our house. Then my daughter came back. She left Ernst & Young in California to join the family business. And we made her managing principal at the ripe old age of 24, I think it was. And since then, she's expanded revenues exponentially. We now own our own building. We have 12 employees. So it's been quite a success story. And the part I like about it the most is that this company has become part of the family. I don't know, I can't think of the right word, but this CPA firm is going to go on. I mean, even my daughter, she's going to bring her daughter into the business and train her. Yeah. And so this business will continue on in the future for our family.
That's great. That's great. Well, a couple of things about that, John, and I'm not the craziest, savviest person in the world about the whole CPA lineage and different levels, but you're not just a CPA. You have some special designation.
Yes, I'm an enrolled agent. And what that means is that I passed back in 2005, I passed a 2-day examination on taxation administered by the IRS, every type of taxation, trust taxes, corporate taxes, partnership, you name it. That was on the exam. And the enrolled agents, we are specifically licensed to represent taxpayers before the IRS. So, if there's an issue that needs to be worked out, some sort of payment plan, offering compromise, a whole host of types of things, our license specifically was specifically designed for us to represent taxpayers before the IRS. Now, CPAs and attorneys are allowed to represent, but for our license, which is with the Department of the Treasury, the U.S. Treasury, our specific purpose is representation for the IRS.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
I bet you can tell us some incredible stories on that, right?
I got a few.
Yeah. That's really good. So you represent a growing audience of NoteSchool, and that is people that historically would have been investing in more traditional multifamily, commercial, single family rentals, all the things, just like you saw our little special ahead of time. That market has gotten pretty tight, right? And so a lot of people have now come to Notes, as you have. And I want to talk about that. Like, give us a little history, if you would, of like what were you doing before NoteSchool, and then we'll wind into why Notes really mattered to you and why making that change mattered. So tell us what you were doing before you were doing stuff with us.
Yes, our family would invest in small commercial buildings. Okay, and over the course of decades, we now have 5 of them. It was been a basic buy and hold strategy. When we build up enough money for a down payment, which for commercials typically around 25%, then we go find something that we thought would be a good investment. We buy it, we manage it ourselves. Okay, so not very creative on the strategy there. And I've been wanting to find other avenues to invest in real estate. And when I heard about NoteSchool, I thought, that could be a good way to make additional money when the buy and hold for commercial buildings isn't really working because of the market.
Correct. Yeah. You hear me say this all the time, John. We've got multifamily people in NoteSchool. We've got people in office in NoteSchool and other asset classes. A lot of people have single family rentals, lots of them, of course.
Yeah.
And I tell people, like, don't feel bad. I mean, I've been doing this is my 44th year in this business. Nothing lasts for 10 straight years and doesn't change. Every old dog has his day, like they say, right? And commercial historically has been a very good market. Now the commercial office is not. It's got its dim moments right now, and you bought it. You've been a long timer. This will be good to you over time, but probably at the moment is not the right time to jump in deeper.
Yeah, although I'm thinking that there might be a way to jump in using what I've learned from NoteSchool. I'll tell you a story about the building we bought in Fort Worth. Back in 2004, and we bought it for $330,000. Of course, now it's worth a lot more than that. But the guy who bought it a year before, the one we bought it from, he bought it for $135,000. I always wondered, how did he do that? And, now I realize one of the paths, I mean, this might have been how it happened, is that he bought a non-performing commercial loan, foreclosed, and no one bought it at the foreclosure, so he gets the building at 135. So that might have been how it happened. So with NoteSchool and what I've heard may be about to happen in the commercial building market, that might open up opportunities for us to buy a commercial building. I mean, you buy the note, right? And then maybe you end up getting the building. So it could be a good market for us to get some more commercial buildings.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt. We're going to wait for the knife to drop a little bit on that. By the way, I don't know if you're a fan of this show or not. 60 Minutes this past week, this past Sunday, ran a segment on commercial real estate. And Joe and I laughed. I think they're watching NoteSchool TV. They pretty much were repeating about exactly what we were saying. Have been saying now for a year and a half. So it's pretty funny. I think those old boys are watching NoteSchool TV. I'm just saying. Either that or they're reading the same press we are. But no, I think it's going to be an opportunity. And I believe it was in 1989. I bought a vacant building that had never been occupied, and they had the air conditioner, they had the elevator, they had the utilities were installed, but they hadn't built out the office spaces. I bought an office building on the east side of Dallas, off of I-30. I bought that 24,000 square feet. We bought it for $50,000.
Whoa,
that's a fact. Been to that rodeo before. So now, once again, it wasn't occupied, and we had to go build it out. So we had to go spend a couple of $100,000 getting that done. But that happened, and I had a partner in my investing company at the time, and a couple of guys, and they eventually bought me out because I was doing some other things. We had separated some other businesses, all friendly, all great, and but I think they still own the building. I mean, we bought it in 89. And so understand, yes, I've seen all this happen, and it will happen again. Let's talk about what you're focused on now a little bit, which was when you came to NoteSchool, you were looking for some things. You were looking for you were trying to solve some challenges. You were looking for a certain environment. Let's talk about what you were looking for.
Well, unique and interesting opportunities to invest in real estate. It's my belief that when you're looking at the complicated areas, the areas that look a little risky, if you know what you're doing, that's where you can make the most money. 100%. So second mortgages, non-performing loans. Yeah, that's kind of the direction I see us mostly going in. Although I recently bought a couple of performing loans that I'm pretty happy with. Because of the difference in interest rates, I was able to get them. They were discounted to the point of I got them for about 50% of the outstanding balance. So for those two loans, if the property owner refinances or sells their property, I make a huge payday on that. And if not, then I'm just getting 10% return on my money, until then.
Yeah, it's funny, John. We see this all the time, and I suspect a little bit in your situation, it's the case, right? You had been kind of focused, your real estate investing was kind of focused on office properties. You knew the market was slipping. You were trying to reinvent yourself a little bit, and you're thinking, well, hey, I'll just backdoor it and go buy defaulted loans. And then all of a sudden, you start learning about, whoa, wait a minute. Oh, and I also can buy a performing note that's paying good. I can buy that note at a discount because the interest rate on the loan is really low.
Yes.
Right. And now all of a sudden you started realizing, oh, wait a minute. I also could use some other creative strategies and buy properties where the seller might carry terms much more favorable than the bank or a mortgage company would. Now you're looking
Yeah.
at your window went from this wide to this wide.
Yes.
Let's
A
talk
lot
about
more
that.
different ways of doing things. I'm sorry.
I said, let's talk a little bit about how the window changed. Like most people come to Note School, John, and it's kind of this. Most people come to Note School and they think I'm going to Note School to go learn X. Right? That's how they usually start. Right? They come to Note School. I want to learn how to buy non-performing notes. I want to learn how to buy performing notes. Like they'll come to Note School with a specific idea, and inevitably, if they progress down the road as you have, now all of a sudden they're like,
Yes.
whoa, I've got more options than I thought. And I want to talk about those
Mhm.
options with you. And kind of what was your aha moment for that?
Gosh, I mean, that was pretty early on. I think it was a 3-day course. I started to hear about ways to invest in notes that, I mean, just totally opened my eyes and made me realize, wow, there could be some real opportunity here. And there's an example, and I know I'm going to get the numbers somewhat off, but where there was a student of yours who bought a second mortgage on a property in Washington, state of Washington, and the property itself, I think it was worth $1 million approximately, and there was a ton of equity in the property. So the second mortgage, there was plenty of equity in order to, he could foreclose and definitely get paid. And I just thought that was incredible for that type of situation. And a couple other things I've learned, as you had mentioned, additional ways to make money. I could go to somebody who's trying to sell their property and talk to them about seller financing. And, you can custom craft the terms in ways that a bank is never going to do.
Yeah.
So that opens up an opportunity to get a house with terms. Depending on how the terms are crafted, it can you could pay more for a home than market value. And alternatively, when you have a property, you can sell it and do the seller financing in ways where you could potentially make much more money than if somebody bought it using a bank loan.
It is creative financing, right?
Yes,
right.
it is.
I mean, you bought a couple of performing notes. And now that you're doing this in your retirement account and you're funding these deals, and all of a sudden when your retirement account is fully vested, all your money is now invested in these notes.
Yes.
Then you can turn around and take some of those notes and sell just the front end of the payments and bring more money back into your retirement account to buy more notes with, because you don't really need the income today. You want the income tomorrow in your retirement account, and you could sell off the income. If you had this much in payments, right? And you sold off this much at the note, the first half, then all of a sudden you could just keep rolling it and keep rolling it. And as you said, buy non-performing notes. And this gets you and I all excited, because this is the opportunity that people are seeing at the moment in notes that, quite honestly, other rental investment strategies are not working so good. It doesn't mean they'll never work again. It doesn't mean what you haven't done isn't been great. What's crazy about office is office was considered for probably 20 straight years the premier investment.
Okay.
And
yeah, I mean, that's something I've been looking at. I haven't done it yet, but I did run the calculations on the first note I bought that I could sell the note for the amount of money that I put into it.
Yep.
And have residual payments at the back. So I get all my capital back, actually with an additional $3,000, okay, and my capital, and still have note payments that I would get further down the road. So
that's
yeah,
it.
that's an opportunity.
And so those are things that people start realizing. You can literally take your self-directed retirement account. Now, some people have a gigantic self-directed retirement account. As you know, some people have a pretty small. So you can go take your self-directed retirement account, whether it's this big or this big, right? And you can literally go operate your self-directed retirement account or your personal investing account, and you can grow incredible wealth. And yes, there are even some leveraging strategies unique to our business where you can use other people's money to help you own notes.
Yes, absolutely. I haven't done that yet, but I've seen examples of that.
When did you join NoteSchool?
July of 2023.
Well, you're kind of a newbie.
I am.
But you already got some notes bought.
I have two.
And you got kind of a vision of what you see in the future. You clearly have that in your mind.
Yeah.
Yes, you can buy non-performing notes. You can buy first. You can buy seconds. You can help create loans. All of that is going to be a truth. I want to talk to you about what I think is the most important part.
Okay.
And that is, you and I are not exactly the same age. You're a little junior to me, but
not by much.
Yeah. It's our why. Why do we do this? Why does it matter?
Well, okay, so why I do it, it's very similar to why I started the CPA firm. My wife was a tax CPA. You know, she worked in the tax departments of Ernst & Young and KPMG. And, you know, she found herself in a job that was very flexible, a CPA firm that allowed her to work from home. So I thought, you know what, let's start a CPA firm. And she hated the idea. I dragged her into it kicking and screaming because I knew that once we get it going, that it'd be good for the future of our family as a whole, for our daughter and potentially, you know, her child as well. And it's worked out incredibly well that way. And that really gets to my why as far as, you know, investing in notes. I'm looking to right now what our family understands, and this goes back to a building that our family purchased in 1910. We have a building up down the street from Wellesley College. Is we understand how to buy commercial properties and manage them and do a buy and hold deal. Okay. Well, I decided that, look, let's try to find other ways of investing in real estate, because sometimes buy and hold on a commercial, you can't find anything, right?
Yeah.
And I heard about NoteSchool. I thought, this is going to be great. We're going to learn additional ways to invest in real estate to give us more opportunities that we could, you know, get involved with to make money. And I really very, very much want this to become part of the family's way of investing in real estate in the future. Okay. I mean, you know, my daughter is signed up for this with me. And so I want to make sure she learns it so she can then teach it to her child, and on we go.
Yeah.
That's my why.
A lot of NoteSchool members have family legacy as part of what they're doing. I mean, like a gigantic percentage.
Yes.
And a lot of them have your story where you're more of the lead in NoteSchool, but then all of a sudden, the more you keep doing it, the more your daughter, who's very smart, Jasmine, is super smart lady, right? Very smart. She looks over there and goes, wait a minute, what are you doing here? Like, it's just almost inevitable that we see that. And then all of a sudden, as you said, then you're investing in things that the residual income of this can then roll over downstream past our life.
Yeah.
And by the way, learning to do this is, you're not going to learn it in college. And, and quite honestly, let's be honest about it. You probably aren't going to learn it on the internet. You can learn some concepts, but you're not going to really get this, right?
Except by watching NoteSchool TV.
Yeah. Well, listen, I see you're active on the Deal Labs. I see you on there, right? Some people are super busy, and we sort of give them the ESPN version. Some people want to go watch the whole football game. Whatever their life story is, I think we can accommodate that, but we can show them, I think you agree, some fairly unique techniques.
Yeah. And that's one of the best things about NoteSchool, really, is the ongoing webinars every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So, I mean, all year round. So I can constantly watch it and learn about other deals that other people are doing, or just new information you want to bring there. And it's a constant ongoing learning experience. It's not a course that, you know, finishes in 12 weeks and then you're done. No, it's ongoing.
We haven't run out of deals to look at, have we?
Nope.
Yeah. All right, Joe. This was awesome.
Yes, John, you're amazing. And, one of the things that, we always say, I mean, you've been, you're 6 or so months in right now. And you know what? Even though you're a very smart man and all of that, you're still teachable. And that's one of the
Oh,
things
yeah.
that Eddie always talks about. You have to be teachable and coachable. And if you're willing to do that, then you're going to do what you want to do in the business. So how old is your granddaughter?
She's 2.
She's 2. Yes.
Yeah.
He had 2 grandsons and now he's got 2 granddaughters. And I'm a new granddad myself. She is, Hayden is 9 months. And, it's an amazing thing, John. It's an amazing thing, as you know.
Absolutely.
That's great.
All right. Any closing words there, Eddie?
I think John is, he would see himself as a regular guy doing some extraordinary things.
That's right.
And I think he would simply say, John, that it is taking action. Yep. Right. It's not sitting on sidelines. You got to go do something to get something.
Yes, absolutely.
I think you're doing the right thing. And I love your reasons for it. I love your story. It's an honor to call you my friend. Yep. And we just salute you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you very much.
All right. So, guys, I will wrap it up. So thank you so much for joining us today on this week's edition of NoteSchool TV. Again, you can see how, well, you've seen a lot of different folks that are in the NoteSchool family over the last little over 3 years now. And we look forward to an amazing 2024. Stay tuned. If you did not have the opportunity to catch last week's episode, we did have attorney Jeff Watson on, and he talked about the Corporate Transparency Act. So you may want to go back and check that one out. It's not May. You need to go back and check that one out because it affects every business owner in the United States. So with that, again, if you want to learn more about what we do at NoteSchool TV, at NoteSchool, simply go to noteschool.com/TV. Again, noteschool.com/TV. And we will see you next week, same place, same time. Have a great week.